Hey guys, I got some really good responses from the last video, and I thought we'd keep the momentum rolling and see how we did with one like this. It's going to be like a tour slash explanation of one of the spreadsheets I did. I think it's pretty interesting. Um, it'll just be an introduction, and you guys can look through them all if you want. But anyway, I think it's definitely not required viewing, but it might be helpful for the upcoming draft to look back at your previous drafts. And what this is, I call it the draft log. And I created them to measure your performance in a draft. We can say that, like, last year Bajam had a shitty draft, but just how shitty was Bajam's draft? We give it a number, and everyone gets a number, and you can break it down by position, quarterback, how good you've drafted, quarterbacks, whatever. And you can do it over the years. We actually have 5 years of data, 2008 through last year, and you can look at trends, how you've improved, how you've gotten worse, things like that. So it might be a good tool to analyze at least yourself and your drafting, and possibly other people's as we go into the 2013 draft year. So bear with me. I'm going to give you a little bit of a tour, but first we need to go over how I score each pick. Okay, so basically I give each pick you make a score, and this table right here is exactly how you determine that. Basically, the general rule of thumb, if you don't want to look at it, is a pick that performs higher than where you drafted them will get positive points, and a pick that performs worse will get negative points. And obviously, the better or worse it is, the more or less points. There's two mild exceptions to that. Let me highlight them here. As you can see, if you pick someone 31st or worse, so the 32nd ranked quarterback, some backup from somewhere, they are most likely going to suck. And you know that when you pick them in the 18th or 19th round or whatever. So when they do suck, you shouldn't lose points for that. So even if they finish worse, like 50th quarterback, 80th quarterback, whatever, you're not going to lose points for that. The other exception is in this square. That's a good example of it, at least. I don't know if there's more. But if you pick someone 1st to 5th, say maybe I picked Drew Brees last season as the 3rd quarterback, and if he would have finished in the 6th to 10th quarterback region, even though he did worse, I would not have lost points. This is because early picks is important to make a safe draft choice too, not just one with upside, because there's not that many places to go up, because they're already high. So if you pick, if you make a selection and you base it partially on injury risk, consistency, things like that, if they tail off a little bit, then you don't get penalized. So that's one of the places where the rule of thumb doesn't work, because they technically did worse, but you don't lose points for it. So the other notes to make here are that tight ends have a different scoring system. That's because we don't pick nearly as many of them. And also, if a player got injured during the season, that means they played less than 8 games, then you're not going to get penalized for that, because most of the time you can't predict injuries, and so that wouldn't really contribute to an accurate score. So we're going to move on to actually looking at the pages here. I put a link in the description of the video, so you can follow along if you want. You might want to open that up now. And so yeah, I'll post links to all the other years too, and then at the end of all this, I would like to do another video where I collect all the data from all of these and put them into an all-time draft log statistics sheet. So hopefully I'll be able to do that soon, and yeah, go ahead and I'll take you on a tour of the rest of the spreadsheet. Okay, so now that I showed you guys how I score each pick, I'm just going to give you a hopefully quick tour here of the actual spreadsheet. You guys can look more in depth yourself. I haven't really planned this out, so I'm just going to point out what I see as I go along. So, okay, it starts here on the quarterbacks page. You can see all the quarterbacks listed in order of how they were picked on the left. And then over here you have the result. You have the points to the left of them, but the big thing to look for is the big hits and the big misses, things like that. Brady moved up from 2 to 1. Anytime you get to 1 from a smaller position, you're going to get a big hit. Polino with Peyton Manning was nice too. Matt Vay took RG3. That was a big hit for him. And Billy had a steal with Dalton. I don't think anyone realizes how good of a pick that was for Billy. And then some people just messed up on quarterbacks. You can see Vic, Eli, Cutler, Stafford. Basham had Cutler and Stafford. That hurt. And on the right, you can see each person's score for quarterbacks in this year. So Nick Clark and Basham did the worst. Me and Willie did the best. So there's quarterbacks. Moving on. Running backs, you see a lot of big misses here at the beginning. I don't know if that's a trend. I would need to look at the last couple drafts, but perhaps it is a little draft secret if someone wants to look it up for themselves. Yeah, the first big hit was myself with Peterson. He ended up first overall, and I didn't pick him until the 10th overall running back. So there's also Doug Martin, Trent Richardson. Then if you scroll down a little bit, you'll see Dave Cave has Spiller. I did the best at running backs. I had 3 points. That was double the next best. Billy did really badly, negative 2.5. He took McCoy. That was a big miss. I think he might have been hurt, or the offense was ineffective. Forte, the bane of Billy's existence in the league. I don't see another one for Billy for a while here. Ingram didn't do so hot. Oh, Peyton Hillis was a bust. Yeah, so that's what gave Billy the low score. As you can see here, we also have the injury designation in effect. If you pick someone really early and they get injured, you miss a quarter of a point. So there's that. That's really insignificant, but it's just saying you have to watch out for injury concerns sometimes. Wide receiver, the big thing I take away from this is Enco got a -5. It's actually hard to get a -5 because you need to pretty much miss big on all your picks. Enco missed big on Roddy White. He missed big on Hakeem Nicks. Dwayne Bowe was a big miss. And then even the later picks, everything he touched turned to shit. Deshaun Jackson, Robert Meacham, Randy Moss, and T.O. Enco didn't lose points for them, but he didn't gain any because they were totally useless. Santonio Holmes was injured. He didn't lose points for that, but Enco had, 7 receivers or so. It didn't hit on a single one. Once again, I got lucky and got the best wide receiver drafting score alongside Dave Cable. Tight end, the only thing you can take away from this is that Tony Gonzalez was a great pick from Polino, and Vernon Davis and Antonio Gates. Those were rough picks for Enco and Willie. Pretty much 50-50 in terms of who drafted good and bad there, but you only drafted one of them, so it's no big deal. Here's the totals page. I ended up with 9. That was the best. Tony had the second best with 4.25. That's significantly lower, but that's a really good draft. Enco had -5.5. That's not too good. You can look across here. There's color-coded scores for each position. You have the big hits and the hits score. That's a little stat there. You have the big misses. And then I broke it down too, so where you can see your score for your top 5 picks and your top 10 picks. And then here, look, you have player pages. You can scroll through those really quickly. Mine has no misses on it, which is shocking. That's really hard to do. Basham's is not so hot. Enco, let's see. Enco's doesn't have any hits. Oh, he has 2 hits. So it shows the total score, the position breakdown, the big hits, misses, things like that. You can pretty much find everything. So scroll through, check them out. I hope you'll look into it further, and I hope you enjoyed.